Welcome to the Chromaniacs, your weekly look inside San Diego FC and MLS. My name is Craig Elston, joined as always by my Chromaniacs, Tony Sanchez and Alex Pena. Tony, what's happening, brother?
Well, a lot has happened, but not really. San Diego FC is steady as can be. They are the team that is atop of the MLS Western Conference once again, number 2 in power rankings in the West, apparently. We'll talk about it. Alex, ¿cómo estás?
Man, very good. It's another sunny, beautiful day in San Diego, and I think that win kind of changed the climate a little bit, and we're off to a pretty good start at home. Hopefully in 2026, making that 3 in a row at home, and I'm very excited for it to face off against St. Louis City SC.
We're here to talk about it this evening, recording on a Thursday night before a Sunday evening game this weekend at Snapdragon Stadium. We were told the schedule early on would be in SDFC's favor, and here's an opportunity. But is St. Louis City SC that same team that we saw last year that just tried to gum the works and throw a banana in the tailpipe and escape 0-0-1-1, or have they turned a new leaf and changed things up in the archway, the Gateway City? We'll find out a little bit later in the show. Got plenty to talk about on this episode 34 of the Chromaniacs, Season 2, Episode 6 of the Chromaniacs. Great to have everybody here. If you're watching the show on YouTube and you like what we do, or even if you just tolerate what we do, but you're watching the show, please hit the thumbs up button. That's going to be helpful to us. Doesn't cost you anything. Subscribe to SanDiego.Futbol, because obviously you don't just get this show, you get our live shows. You can be notified when we go live, when Two Balls and a Mic goes live, with everything that they're doing on Monday nights. Soccer's Overtime. It's a wide umbrella of San Diego soccer content on the premier San Diego soccer website, SanDiego.Futbol. So check it out. And don't forget to follow us. Follow us on Instagram at The Chromaniacs. Follow us on TikTok if you have TikTok on The Chromaniacs. Terrible SDFC Memes made a point of saying, tell people to follow us on TikTok, because we're, I think, close to 500 there. I don't have TikTok. I see TikToks, some very good ones. I know. I don't need another thing on my phone.
Nah, I feel like that's for the kids.
Exactly.
And
it's for the kids.
Yeah.
It's for the kids.
I don't have it either. I don't have TikTok either. But yeah, follow us there. Follow us on Instagram.
If you do, follow us
social.
there. Memes does a great job on both platforms. Approaching 800 now on Instagram. We're going to get to 1,000 before the All-Star. Let's get to 1,000 kind of like in a month. Let's go. Why the All-Star break? Let's accelerate velocity into this episode of the show. Okay. More extensions, more guys sticking around, the good times rolling at San Diego FC. Mikey Varas got a deal. Tyler Heaps has a deal. Heaps and heaps of extensions being handed out all around, including to the guy who hands out the extensions. He gets one himself. That has to come from above, from Tom Penn and from the powers that be. Tyler Heaps gets the there you go, memes is all over it, and you get an extension. Look under your seat, you've got an extension. It's been true, and now Tyler Heaps joins the group, and I thought he was already signed long term. This is great news.
Oh yeah, it's great news, and as we learned a little bit with the Padres, right? These extensions are all about timing. When the owner is in town, either in Peoria in spring training, or just happens to be here for the home opener against Montreal, things just happen. People sharpen their pencils, they've been put pen to paper, and things get signed. And it's a good deal. I mean, it's great. And guess what? He also announced how long it is. You know
What?
What? I didn't think that was possible here in San Diego to know what sporting director or president of baseball operations, how long their extension's going to be. And we got word that it's going to be a 3.5-year deal. I think that sounds pretty good. He's going to be here for the long term. And I think most importantly, it sounds like everyone is happy with how things are going currently. Ownership to CEO down to Tyler Heaps. It seems like everyone is happy with the system, and the team's winning. Everything's going great. Everything's moving in a positive direction, and that's how Tyler Heaps gets his extension.
Yeah, we were actually kind of, joking before he came out, like, all right, so how are we gonna approach this? I was talking with our buddy Darnay, and we were like, all right, well, maybe we'll just ask him, like, just ask him straight out. And he did say that, so we were kind of doing the math. That's about 2029 if you start it as of now and moving forward. So I mean, it's good news. It's a continuation to the format, and I think, what better way to really show that your system, what you are doing is working, than having the right person in that position, right? Having Tyler Heaps, who came from a legacy academy in Monaco, in France. That's a team that's been producing world class players for decades. Rafa Marquez, Mexican national team captain, the assistant to the national Mexican team, played in Barcelona, came out from that academy, and just Kylian Mbappe as well. So he has that pedigree, and he sees Brian Zamble, I believe 11-year-old at the time, just kind of going through these motions. And he's mentioned that his last day, he saw him in Monaco play again, because of Monaco's youth academy, played against the Right to Dream International Academy. And for that player that you signed, that you said, you know what, let's give him a chance in a position where you have somebody who you trust, who you love, who you know is going to do everything for the crest in Pellegrino, give him the trust and put him there. That's what he gets rewarded with, an extension. And 3.5 years still doesn't seem too long to me, but for the good of this team, I think this is a fantastic, fantastic move.
Overall, San Diego FC has taken the path of saying we're going to lock things in, and understanding the variance traditionally within MLS. That could very much mean that there's a year down the road somewhere in those seasons that it's not everything that it's worked out perfectly so far, the way it has for SDFC. But this club is not saying we're going to ride the waves and see how wet we get. They're saying that this ship is the one we want, and we're gonna keep going forward with it. And there's core players that we want to build around, that we believe are going to be effective 3 years from now. And we believe that Mikey Vares and Tyler Heaps are going to be attractive on the market a year from now, 2 years from now. And so we'd rather lock that in over the course of most of the rest of the decade, as opposed to taking a chance that this continues to go as well as we think it does. And then we're going to have to really pay the piper, or see these guys walk out the door. Continuity is really what I'm driving at here. And when you've got a team that's based on an academy, that's based on a global system, having continuity makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, and even the internal system that they have, and I can't even imagine how many, scouts and quants and everything that goes into the front office there. That team it seems like it's pretty solid, and even reading about it last year from some of the national people, they rank it pretty high as uh, you know, analytical, a very forward thinking front office. I think a lot of the things they do has really impressed a lot of people. Even though, like, I think the off-season moves are head scratching for some of the national guys that are out there, because they kind of see it as, oh, they didn't bring anybody, but maybe a Brian Zamble is going to turn into a star, and be the guy in a couple years that everyone talks about in MLS. And or even Amal Pellegrino, yeah, maybe he's going to get it going, and Morgan, and everybody else that they brought in during the offseason. So this is a smart group, and I really like it. I really like Tyler Heaps. And can he do two jobs? Can he also do the Padre job too?
Easy you.
I'm just kidding.
Easy you.
I see
Alex
people.
Pena, Tyler Heaps #1 fan, AJ Preller's #1 critic.
Yes.
Same guy, lives in the same skin, wakes up in the same bed in the same time.
I mean, Mansour keeps getting asked if he's gonna, take over the Padres anytime soon, and I don't think he's interested in that. So it would be interesting. I don't
Not
know.
in the group. Doesn't have Drew Brees on his side.
No.
Not ready to put the bid in. Understood. Yeah, $500 million is one thing. $2.5 billion is quite a bit more. Quite a bit more, as it turns out. But nonetheless, we persevere. And you said it, the analytical side of Tyler Heaps. I think that's the thing that's very attractive, the fact that Mikey Varas is willing to incorporate all of that in his tactics, and that the two of them have shown to date immaculate alignment. If that alignment ever comes out of alignment, then you'll have an issue because both guys are locked in long term. But so far, so great, not just so good for San Diego. And it's a good situation to have Tyler Heaps alongside Varas, alongside Dreyer, alongside everyone else, and alongside Pablo Cisniega. How about it?
Yeah, this one, I think this one's a little surprising. That because you already have CJ Dos Santos extended, and Duran Ferree, he's also on a long-term deal. But when you look a little bit closely, all three of those deals actually end at the same time with club options for the next season. So that's going to be really interesting how that's all going to work out. They're going to pick and choose like who's going to stay, who's going to go at the very end of those contracts, or it could be a deal where someone gets traded maybe next year, maybe get it transferred out. But I think it's a testament that you like this group, that you like all three of these guys. All three are a great option, and you have these guys locked in for at least another year. So, and I think it's also a testament of like it's a very healthy competition. It's not like a toxic group where it's like I got to be the number one. No, I think all three are battling out and trying to see who's going to be the number one guy. And I think it's good for the group and the whole team. I think Mikey Varas likes it and likes the competition. And I think this is probably going to be good for everybody, and especially Cisniega, who's guaranteed another contract, another year in San Diego.
And I mean, it's a good move for Duran too, because this means that if you have these players in the long term, short term, this also means that there's not a market for another goalkeeper opening up anytime soon ahead of you. So then, you have time to cook, you have time to develop, you have time to really showcase yourself in case you're going to be asked to come in. There were times last year where you saw, Cisniega come in and he kind of had in his injury stint along the same time that CJ also had picked up an injury, but he was still playing. He had his mask on, right? So I think now in those cases, you have a Duran Ferree to say, okay, that's fine. Let's have both of these guys rest. One of them can be the backup. Let's throw the kid in and get him some more experience, get him more time. And at the end of the day, look much more comfortable than we've been in the system, especially with the goalkeeper and his abilities. I mean, again, I will be the first one to say I am a Duran Ferree mark. Like I am, like that's end all be all San Diego. Good job, kid. But even if it wasn't him and he didn't have that story, you can tell that player works incredibly well in the system. His distributions, 2 of the goals came because of and started with Duran Ferree, saving and having a heat map of a center back. Like it's incredible what he did, but it's incredible what the system was able to do with him in there as well.
And I think it's really interesting that you just aren't going to make a decision. You're going to have 3 guys. They're all under contract. They're all going forward. It's going to be presumably a competition. From Pablo Cisniega's perspective, though, this could be right now the best chance of his career to grab a starting job with both clubs and hang on to it for a little while we see the opportunity for it to disappear because Ferree is right there around the corner, and so is Dos Santos. If San Diego FC really believed that Duran Ferree was ready to be their backstop long term, they would not make this extension because there would be no need to. You'd want to create the opportunity for him to step forward as opposed to keep putting people in front of him. That's no way to truly develop him. But if you're putting Cisniega and Dos Santos, and I don't know, what do we feel about the Dos Santos extension? I just think the guy's been coming back from injury and he looked pretty good last year. I've always been more of a Cisniega guy overall, but it's not to say that Dos Santos can't do the job either. So I just think it's kind of an interesting situation in terms of they've got three guys that all have something to offer in net, and there's no commitment to any of them, but there is a commitment also to all of them to being there collectively.
Yeah, and I do wonder a little bit. Yeah, what was that Dos Santos extension a little premature? But he was playing really well up to that point. He was an elite goal stopper, and everything, all the metrics seemed like everything he was doing was really well, and it was just unfortunate that he had to get an injury, and then they had to swap keepers, and then he came back and then got another injury. It just yeah, maybe it's just this is an insurance plan of just like, okay, we can keep this group together for at least another year. But I am a little interested to know, like, can you develop, just kind of watching games, like if you are Duran Ferree, like, is it a good plan to be the third keeper maybe for until next season? Like, is that a good way to develop him, or should he like pick up a loan somewhere?
I think right now it's clear that there's two goalkeepers out of the three in that locker room that are really good goalkeepers that are learning and doing their best adapting to the system. There's only one goalkeeper who is the system, and there's only one goalkeeper who is ready to go and speaks and has been raised in it. And I think with Duran's experience and what he gained in FC Northland, I think that's enough to go ahead and also need to have that, mentorship when it comes in front of him, and not even mentorship. It's a legit competition right now. And I think, he's had mentors. I have an interview that's going to be dropping very soon with him where he talks a little bit of Coque Vegas and things that he learned with the ball at his feet. I'll tell you right now, one of the most impressive touches I've ever seen in my life in person was a goalkeeper named Coque Vegas. Like, that guy is something else with it, and he imparted that wisdom on him. And now I think with Duran in this position, he's learned what he's need to, but he's ready to go ahead and compete for even a 2 spot right now. And that's where I think Duran he'll still develop. Can he go outside? I think the only place he can go is FC Northland. And because, again, you don't want to have him lose those habits and develop other habits in terms of losing himself with the ball or just being a little bit too radical with his way of having the ball at his feet, and that just doesn't work for him. And maybe he regresses that way elsewhere.
Okay, that's very interesting, because I was just going to kind of challenge your position to say, okay, if you believe that Duran Ferree is that close, then why the heck would you have both of your veteran goalkeepers on contract extensions? Why would you do that?
Because I think it's a little bit of what Alex is saying. The CJ Dos Santos, I think, situation worked a little too well for San Diego FC right out the gate, and they wanted to make sure to lock down somebody who seemingly was working very well. With Pablo Cisniega, you also kind of get that Mexican thing as well. Like, you still have a Mexican on the team, definitely. But as a shot stopper, he's proven to work in these situations as a good backup. And I think, again, for Duran, he's going to be here. So, might as well keep him here and compete now. So, I think it's a tough position, I think, to kind of go into right now, because we've only seen one game, and that game was out of necessity. Duran wouldn't have started had CJ been 100%.
Right.
Had Cisniega not had a red card. So it'll be interesting if we do see Duran at some point competing or even being a number 2 if there's no injury in the near future. Because again, we don't know where CJ is. CJ was healthy enough to be put on the bench as Duran's backup. But in media availability, Mikey told us he's not ready. He's still coming back. Like he's, going and dealing with some of the recovery that comes with it. He's wearing the mask that makes him incredibly uncomfortable, and he doesn't like to play with it. So, had it not been for that, I think, Duran doesn't have that chance. But I think just things are closer for Ferree than some might say. But, he has the time. He has the youth. He has everything right now.
And he had the stage last weekend for a 5-0 victory, which, of course, lit everything on fire. Just in case you didn't realize, we did a post-game show after the match against CF Montreal, and you can find that one back in the feed, both on YouTube and wherever you're listening to this, if you're listening to the audio version, and welcome all of the audio files. Appreciate y'all. So that's why we're not going on and on about the 5-0 game. Funny thing about a 5-0 game is that from an analytical standpoint, Montreal, it's not very good. We were way better. Everything worked great. Hooray. It's like...
That's all it came down to.
Well, one thing, though, I did want to ask, though, Alex, after on that show, and while you were watching live, you were pretty unimpressed with Marcus Ingvartsen. I think you got a lot of pushback on that. I know in our Discord there was a lot of discussion about it. What are your thoughts after further review on how Ingvartsen fared?
Yeah, I actually appreciate one of the hot tub members at Carlsberg United. He pretty much told me, like, after you watch the tape, you're gonna come out impressed, and I did. It was a little bit like more eye-opening to see, like, okay, he was actually playing really good, playing some passes pretty well. But yeah, the pass, that the header that led to the second goal, he jumped so high, and I was like, oh man, this guy can actually catch some air. Like he has hops. And I was like, oh, I couldn't, like, in real time when I'm watching the game, I'm too far away to see who that was, and it just, like, went over my head, and I didn't see it. But it's not only that, but also the communication he had with Dreyer, because as soon as that ball was going towards Ingvartsen, Dreyer just, like, turned on the jets, and he was like, okay, that ball's mine, and just went after it. So that had a lot to do with Marcus Ingvartsen. And, like, I even said, like, at the very end of my recap on ChromaticFC.com, like, Marcus Ingvartsen actually had a pretty good game. And yeah, I had to take that one back from the live show. But yeah, that's why it's like, it's live reaction. I was watching certain things, and I was like, oh, okay, he's not really pressing the way I would like, and he did get one ball that he just missed. And I think those things come out, and they're much bigger than, and when I see them, like, live, but they're not. They're the whole thing was actually a lot better. Yeah, watching it over.
Yeah, I mean, he had that, and again, not to kind of come back to it, but this flick was pretty saucy.
Yeah,
that was like the thing about that flick that it might not be impressive is that he's taking a step and flicking at the same time. Like, it's one motion what he does, and that's what makes that move so smooth, so silky, and impressive. But he also scored, and that was a center forward goal. Like, that was a center forward's goal, and that's one thing that we haven't seen here at Snapdragon Stadium is Marcus Ingvartsen score. And let me tell you, this was a really good performance by him, and I think the team itself was much better because of him. And there were times, if you look at the footage too, where he's playing in a center mid role. He's playing in a off, on an off left wing type of position, and then kind of brings it back together. But you can really start to see, if you connect the two dots, where Ingvartsen is and where Sverskov is. Those are two lines that, if you pay attention through the game, are so interesting, not just to the way that they attack, but in the way that they defend. Yepe, if he has to come down and defend, that means then Ingvartsen has to play as a center attacking forward in order to go ahead and get that pivot and get Dryer to in those positions. That's how you get him in midfield with that header to go ahead and do the counterattack. And that's what makes this system and Right to Dream so impressive. It's incredible.
Yeah, it was yeah, it's much more compact, especially his position. He plays much more of a center like mid role. And you just looking at the kind of like the heat maps that MLS Analytics has on Blue Sky, um the left winger Amal Pellegrino is like much more further up than I guess like most front lines are. But yeah, he is and Barton is much more central. And that was like the key moment right there, that he was right there close to the midfield, got that ball and a shot out right to Dryer. So that the combination of things that was actually perfect and spot on.
I think the guy that everybody has been talking about since the match is over, and maybe it's recency bias, but I don't think it is who scored last. I mean, Zamblé was so electric in such a short period of time that I think it got everybody dreaming. And I wanted to ask the question, what is the immediate term expectation now from you guys for Brian Zamblé? Like, how soon do we see him for more than a late sub like this, after the 80th minute? When do we see him to start a second half? When do we see him at the 60-minute mark of a time match? Where are your expectations? Or is that not going to happen until midway in the season?
No, I think it will happen. The person that came to mind right away was like Alaski. Like the track that they had, it was a little bit similar to like, okay, he's gonna get the last like 10 minutes, and then it was like 20 and then 30, and then he finally got a half, and then all right, we can just start him now. It wasn't like a thing that happened right away, but I think it's gonna be that Alaski track of just giving Zamblé a little at a time. But maybe Tony, you might know a little bit more than me. Like maybe I'm wrong on that.
I mean, it's all going to depend, and I wish no bad juju on anybody, any player, home or away. But it has to do with Amal Pellegrino's health and his fitness. I think that's going to be the real marker here. If a 35-year-old can keep up to the pace that it's being demanded of him, I think through and through until maybe after the World Cup, coming into the second half of the season, you're going to see the minutes increase for Zamblé, because something to kind of take into consideration too, that a lot of the reasons why last year you didn't have a center, left back or even a fullback that can go a full 90 is because they're still young and they're still growing into their bodies and they're still developing as the players that they need to be. So as much and as fantastic as an 18-year-old is in that, in that microcosm of a couple minutes, is he ready to go 90? Is he able to go 60? And if he is, which 60 do you choose? And I think that if he's ready to be that professional coming into it and get that contract, you still use him as a super sub because he's just an unknown. And that's another thing, that if he does become known, then do you really want to have somebody that's known out there for, a long period of time? Or do you still want to have that mystery of like, hey, we have this ace up the sleeve that we don't know what's going to happen. He can take it on his own, but he can also play the style. And, I can't wait. Trust me, I'm calling it now. There's going to be a game where he tracks back and wins the ball and is a game savior. And it's going to be like, wow, he doesn't just attack, he defends, and make everybody forget about that play in LA Galaxy here at home, right? Like, he's still going to need time to cook, but this is going to be Amal Pellegrino's starting position for a while.
Okay, well, here's where before we move on, this is the spot I'm specifically thinking about. You look at those first couple of weeks of March, and it's weekend away match, come back, play Toluca. Weekend away match, go to Toluca. There's 4 matches in the span of like around 12 days, 13 days. It's a really impacted schedule. And Amal Pellegrino can't play all those games. Now, we've already forgotten about our Scottish friend. I mean, is Lewis Morgan even going to turn up and be a part? Or when is that shooting star going to flash across the sky for his availability? I don't know. But otherwise, look at that. 11 days. 11 days, 4 matches, including finishing it with the altitude of Toluca and the second leg of the second round. So that's where I'm looking for some Zamblé time, baby. I'm looking for CONCACAF Champions Cup as being a spot where you could see his minutes rise and let those young legs run and gas out in 8,000 feet.
That's a really good point, Craig. But I have to go back to what Mikey Varas did last year, and he just I don't want to even use the word gas, but like that's not the right word, but he kind of maxed out and used his starters even when there was like a weekday game early on in the season. And there's going to be a weekend in March where they'll have a day off, and they also have this World Cup thing happening in the middle of it. So you
Is that still
can
going
just
on?
Yeah, I don't know. They're
Somewhere.
so
Are we
they're
sure? Yeah.
they can max out their players, and like, oh, they're gonna have a couple. Some of these guys are gonna have a couple months off, and then eh, start right back up again. So
Fair enough.
it kind of sounds like if I'm looking at Mikey Vars's lineups from last year, he can absolutely max these guys out. Even though that is that the right move? We'll gonna have to wait and see. But yeah, the Luka game away worries me a little bit because because of the altitude. We saw how these guys played against Pumas. You're gonna need some fresh legs. I don't know if it's gonna be a earlier rotation with that lineup, but we're kind of way ahead of ourselves. But yeah, I do think you make a good point, and I wonder who is going to be available for those matches, and if Morgan is going to be ready to go to get into the rotation.
Yeah, it's not that far down the road, really, when you
Yeah,
think about it. I mean,
yeah.
once you get past the city match, you're going to head right into that stretch of road matches, except for Toluca coming here. And
Hmm.
when you've got a game every 3 days, you just can't run Tverskov and McVeigh and Valakari and everyone else out there all the time. Like you can't. You've got too much youth on this roster that has an ability to shine. But then when do you deploy it? Do you deploy it in the
Hmm.
MLS match? Do you deploy it in Toluca? How much do you rate CCC? How much do you truly rate your chance to beat Toluca? All questions for delicious future shows of Chromaniacs. Meanwhile, though, Tony, we've talked about a lot of the guys that you've got sound for from Tuesday at Singing Hills. Speaking of Tyler Heaps, right? Duran Ferree.
Yes,
Love
we
to
got
hear it.
Duran Ferree, Ingvartsen, and Tyler Heaps. So let's
Yeah.
hear from Tyler. And let him just charm you, because let me tell you, this guy's a stud. Like, he's the real deal. The youngest GM in MLS. Like, be proud of this guy, San Diego.
Your extension also coincided timeline-wise with Mikey's extension for the club as well.
Yeah, slightly different timelines, but similar.
And in terms of building this squad up, what have you seen now, having seen the 2026 version of SanDiego.FC, and speaking about you wanting to add someone in the midfield, is that still something that you're looking for in this upcoming window, potentially loans coming in?
Yeah, we're still looking for potentially one more. I think it all depends on the right timeline. It all depends on the right player. We have our eyes on a few. We've really tried to go after the domestic market just because of the international prices of international spots, which have only continued to increase because of the difficulties in obtaining green cards and everything else that comes with it. But I think we're also very happy with where we are. We watch training every single day, and I think the squad is much deeper than it was last season, especially at this time. We've been able to bring in a lot of really good young players, some that have already debuted for us, and hopefully we can continue to get fit. That would be another thing that's really important for us, is getting these guys back that had long-term injuries last season, and we're getting closer and closer to that.
Yeah, somebody who's been connected with Right to Dream. Can you talk about the development of Brian Zamblé and his goal, debut, and everything that comes with that?
Yeah, a really special moment for the whole organization. That's something that you get goosebumps at. I don't think you could have predicted it any better than that, and I think that's what the messages on my phone were after. I've been fortunate to go visit those guys a lot, and so I sent a lot of thank you messages. Thank you to the teachers that started with him when he was 11 years old, and I'm fortunate I get to be in a position that gives these kids these opportunities at the end. But the reality is there's so much work that goes in before that, and everybody at Right to Dream deserves tremendous amount of credit for that, and Brian deserves a lot of credit for that, to be able to put it all together. Right, unbelievable goal on his first touch as a professional. We're really excited for him as he continues to develop this year, but it was a huge moment for the whole organization, the whole club, and I think that's a goal and a moment that people will remember for a long time.
And on the action items on your desk, on that same position, what we've been talking about, Lozano and his situation, you and Mike had mentioned that there have been clubs that were interested. Is there any update on that, or what the situation is with Lozano moving forward? Will he be here through the summer?
Yeah, there is interest, but there's no update at this time. As soon as there is an update, I'll be sure to let you guys know, and be as transparent as we can be.
There's old Tony. Everyone's having a good time talking about the great things going on with San Diego FC. And you have to point to the action item folder on the desk and say, hey, see, there's still something in your inbox there, big boy. Wow. Wow. Just wow.
The HR speak. Because I was like, how do I different? Like, it's a thing you have to do.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
It's there.
He's there. Yeah, he's there. He's right there.
It's the biggest folder on your desk for sure. Like, sure,
look,
hey, I let him into it too. I'm like, hey, like, look, great job. Hey, is there anybody coming in the midfield? Oh yeah. Hey, this kid on the left wing. Hey, speaking of that left wing on your desk, what's up with this guy
on your desk? Look, we've talked a lot about Chucky in the preseason because it was something that had to happen. They made a declaration, and then it didn't happen. He's still there, but he's not there. So the club is doing amazing. They beat Pumas. They demolished Montreal in their opener. Sunday is dead ahead. And if they wind up, not scoring in a match, or God forbid losing, we're not going to all go run over to Chucky FC and seek comment. I'm ready to put it kind of aside, in the sense that that's literally what they're doing. They're running them around on a side field. They're paying for it. It's the decision that made the most sense. It's not as easy as pressing, the NBA trade simulator to get Chucky off the team. It's not as easy as just matching things up on Polymarket or something. You've got to actually have it all work out holistically. And I recognize that and don't want to continue to harp on it. I thought we talked about it at the beginning when it was appropriate, and at the beginning of the season, because it's like, whoa, it's still there. But hey, they're going to move on without him. And I think they're doing swimmingly. So, at this point, I feel like everybody's been extended who made that decision. So the message couldn't be clearer. And I think, old Chucky would do himself well if he wants to play soccer going forward, to accept a deal somewhere. Otherwise, come indoors. But, keep the dream alive. But, make your money and continue to put your meme version of yourself, AI'd into crowd shots.
Yeah. That was interesting how he did that. I was like, oh, okay. He AI'd himself into the crowd.
There he is, right there with us.
And then it's like, oh, is he ever gonna do that? Is he just gonna show up one day and just be like,
That'd be
"Oh,
wild.
I'm proud of the crowd now." Yeah. But yeah,
Under a
it's
lucha mask.
Hmm.
He's like,
yeah, under a hoodie. Yeah, under a hoodie, just kind of like show up and take his video and be like, "I was here with the crowd and everything." But yeah,
What if he showed up? Did you see those oversized Chucky heads?
I was gonna say like just
Oh yeah. I've seen those. Yeah.
Chucky in a Chucky head, just
Yeah.
as a fan. That would be
Uh,
the cinema version of this.
yeah.
Or maybe the Office version, right? The comedy version of this is that he shows up in his own Chucky head to.
Oh yeah, like the Bryan Cranston.
Yes, exactly. Brilliant.
That'd be
Brilliant.
awesome.
hey, at the end of the day, guess what? This is still somebody who's being paid. This is still somebody who's taking a position
I
where
get it, Tony.
come in. The broadcasts mentioned it 3 times in minute 38. I mean, the Mexican media, I took note.
For the audio audience, he picked
Yeah.
up his notebook to refer to the 38th
Yeah,
minute.
no, it's on there. But Mexican media is still talking about it. It's not going to end until the World Cup. They're going to bring it up, right? Like, and the thing is, I'm the most interested, and I'll talk about it once again whenever he does get called by Javier Aguirre ultimately, because there's no left wingers and he's still able to do it. And then SDFC chooses or chooses not to acknowledge him as a Mexican international player from their teams. And like, good luck in the World Cup. But yeah.
Look, it is a continuing story, but we're not going to try and harp on it. Just note it as it goes by. And of course, our resident journalist is going to ask the tough questions, because if he doesn't, what then it's down to Darnay. And if Darnay doesn't, then who? They're
right.
still not inviting me to these things. So I think that's probably the right you're the right guy to do it. You're the right man for the job. Let's move on to
to Milanilowski, who's just scored in the CONCACAF.
Exactly.
What a transition.
If
Did you guys
only.
hear Tomas Angel quietly get put to rest, like an off-screen death in Game of Thrones on the broadcast, where they're like, "Yeah, we know Tomas Angel is no longer here, but blah 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 blah."
Oh man. I was actually
that's
thinking
another one.
in our great video intro that we have, and I absolutely love it.
Yep.
They're starting to get a couple of
Yes.
outdated clips, but it would be really funny if you did the thing where you just like scratched out their face like they did in that Tarantino movie trailer. Just when 11 runs by, it's just a scratch face head. And when they're playing soccer tennis, the dude over in the far right corner, scratch face head. Like, sorry, Tomas, we're scratching you out of the picture. You're already woven into our past.
Good riddance. Anyway,
All right,
yeah,
let's go.
let's talk about who is here on the squad.
Yeah, thanks. Who's here?
Well, we got one Marcus Ingvartsen who's ready to go, the healthiest man in San Diego saying, you know what? I'm starting to believe it, Craig and Alex.
Coming off the first regular season game, what kind of takeaways you guys are coming out of that match, and then you on a personal level being able to get on the score sheet? How do you feel?
Yeah, great start, I think, for the team and for me personally. It's been a short preseason, but I think we have been looking very sharp in training, having some good training matches, and then the CONCACAF, of course. So a lot of goals in the first couple of games also. Great start, and personally, great to be back and playing, scoring, and assisting.
You've come into a team now that has refined the system of the dream, something that you were brought into almost each of the rest of the squad. What does it feel like now in year 2 coming into a team that's already integrated, and now you're the one integrated into that style as well?
Yeah, it means we can go more into details, smaller details, get even sharper. I think we could feel from the beginning coming back after vacation that the fundament is pretty good. We did a very good job last year, and even with the new guys coming in quickly finding that rhythm. So now we can really go into details and specific points of the game. So it's nice to be able to. Yeah, there's still a lot of layers to add on.
And can you describe the work rate that's asked of you in your position? Sometimes people see a center forward that you see that's the one who scores, but just the other things that go into the position.
Yeah, we want to be an aggressive pressing team also. So a lot of works happening from the 9 and the forward players also, like starting that pressure. Mike always said, like the top of the spear, going in the press and starting everything for the team. So it's a very important thing. And then, of course, with the ball, as an offensive, you want to add the goals and assists and so on. But our game is, especially against Montreal the other day, where they go very man-man. There are a lot of aspects of the game.
Can you walk me through your goal?
Yeah, quick corner kick. I think I had a big chance just before that, and I wanted to have that goal. So I see everybody falling in and getting the eye contact with Anders, and then luckily it was there.
Great stuff from Marcus Ingvartsen, who does look like amazing. I mean, he's super fit, in great shape, bronzed. Hair looks immaculate. I'm ready. Sign me up. You know,
I'm telling you, these Danes, they got some sun over the winter. Being here in San Diego. Great
no
tan.
kidding. Really impressive. I love him talking about how, like a professor, you said, brought over to kind of teach the system. That's the sign of a professor. Is he's like, well, you're starting to get it, so now we can go to level 3. Like we've been down here working on the basics, and yeah, you figured out Pythagoras. Now let's start doing stuff. Let's bring in the irregular numbers. Let's get things going here. Let's get wild. And I like that. His eyes lit up when he said there's a lot of layers to this. It gets me excited about where the system could continue to go. And I guess speaks once again to the catchword of the show, continuity. You've got a lot of guys who are playing together and are going to continue to play together. And if there are layers to this, the version, the 6.0 could be even better.
Yeah, and then like just having that core together, and yeah, that's part of the reason why you lock these guys up to extensions, is like you want to have a good core that you can continue to grow, and hopefully this just keeps kind of layering on as they're talking about, and you're starting to see a little bit more like dimensions to this right to dream system. And yeah, I'm starting to really like it, especially if they're going to be crossing more. There's going to be a lot more players involved in the final third. So that's what I like. That's the type of soccer I like to watch.
And once again, you were told, the fan base was told, hey, Marcus Ingvartsen coming back is going to be like having another DP. And if he's playing at this level, you're going to have to believe Mikey Vadas and Tyler Heaps once again, because not only was he healthy, but that's what they kept saying. Just wait for Marcus to come back. There's a reason why he's paid what he's paid. And, when you asked the players last year, like who was one of those leaders in the locker room, he may not have been playing, but a lot of them say Marcus Ingvartsen for that reason. And so he's pivotal to this team. And the fact that he was able to finally get his goals, just, he with the last, that's how you end a game, right? You assist, you are very instrumental to moving the mark off the first goal with and working together with Jeppe to make sure that McVeigh's in that perfect spot to get that header. But the last touch that you have is a rocket to the crossbar in. That's a complete game for a center forward. And I think he's just getting started.
You better be right. We need the goals and the assists. All right, let's wrap up our training ground sound with Tony Sanchez's personal favorite, Duran Ferree.
Looking at some of the footage back, what are your takeaways from your performances last weekend?
Yeah, I think it was a good start for my first, MLS start, and I think there's some good takeaways. But I know I'm better than what I showed, so I'm happy to express more of myself.
And then we saw the video of you getting the match ball after a long play. What does that moment mean to you? And what are the conversations with Mikey that you've had since then?
Yeah, it's been great. Really special for me. Obviously, it just represents what I've been through this past like 6 months, and I worked all really hard, and patience worked out. So yeah, pretty happy about it.
What was that next day with any friends, family members just kind of reaching out to you? How was that? How was that?
Yeah, everyone's pretty proud, pretty happy of what I've done so far. It's special to me to see them.
Favorite moment in that match?
I would say the header, for sure. Yeah.
Did you get a chance to like take it in? Just the atmosphere, everything, what it means for you personally, the crowd.
Most definitely. I think for me, I try to stay in the present, and I think I was able to take it all in and really enjoy it. So,
you said there's more to improve on. You had a clean sheet. What could you improve on?
oh, for me, it's I could always be better. Always be better. You know, I think there's always something I could be improving on, being more sharpened. So I think you'll just be seeing more of me to come. So.
How do you view just kind of your role, given that you have, you know, other proven goalkeepers on the roster as well?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's just we're here to compete against each other. We're fighting every day against each other, but it's a good, healthy relationship, and we're all really appreciative of the work we put in every day. So we're all looking forward to this next game.
Great stuff. He's not giving up anything.
Mm-mm.
That's a trained professional right there.
No, I mean he's straight up said, "I'm here to compete." You
Yeah.
know, I expect to compete.
Mhm.
You're gonna see a lot more of me. He said that. That's a direct quote. You're gonna see a lot more of me. Well, that's up to the coach. So that's throwing the glove down at CJ's locker and saying, "Hey, buddy, sorry about it. Please enjoy the role of third goalkeeper. I'm taking this over. Let's see if he can do it."
Trying to think, how many games did SanDiego start last year at home? Because it might not be too far off from the amount of times that Duran Ferree has played at Snapdragon. Last year, Vancouver, this last game, Borussia Dortmund. Like, you know, this is his house. He thinks like that's how he
Right.
takes it. Like, you guys are in my house for now, and it's mine.
Well, he does have the confidence of a 19-year-old, but I also really appreciate the attitude of I can always get better. There's always something I can do to get better. And you can just hear that youthful. It reminds me of Jackson Merrill in terms of just like that pure bull energy, you know, of like, I'm amazing. I know I'm really good, but I can always get better. There's no ceiling for me. The ceiling is space, you know, and I love it. Love it. Love it. All right. Let's turn our eyes to Sunday. And what's up next? This is where things get tricky to me for SDFC is just, are we on a wave? Are we already on a wave where we're not going to even have anything to really analyze? And it's just going to be, we're going to bull rush teams and we're going to crush teams and win in dominant fashion. And there's very little to be said other than, sorry, St. Louis, you're next. Or is there another layer of struggle that is yet to reveal? And will this week be the one to it? Alex, what's new with St. Louis? What's new with St. Louis?
Real quick, for Tony's question, SanDiego had 6 home matches. And
Half.
Yeah.
yeah.
You can
what's
hear
new
Tony,
with-
the agent, though, working the numbers there. That was nice.
yeah.
That was good.
What's new with St. Louis? They completely tore everything apart at the end of the, last season. They wanted to bring in somebody that was proven on their sporting director side, that had one that is more of possession attacking football than St. Louis has ever seen. So they brought in Corey Ray, who is a Canadian. He has won several Canadian Cups already and an MLS Cup with Columbus Crew back in 2023. So he knows that style, right? If there's one team that kind of reflects the style that SanDiego FC plays, it's probably the Columbus Crew. And with that, he was like, okay, I got to find someone from that staff I can bring in. So he brings in Yon on Damit. Is it Damit? Okay. So he brings in him from Columbus Crew, and they're more focused, like what I saw in against Charlotte. Possession. They had a 3-4-3, so they did absolutely have a 3 center backs. Their wing backs were pushing forward. They were probably a little bit more ahead than their strikers, and anybody else. They were really trying to push ahead, and yeah, it's going to be a different system here with St. Louis. It's not your father's St. Louis City SC. And it's not going to be anything we saw last year. The very last match, we weren't even around yet. We weren't Chromaniacs yet. It was back on May 10th.
Yeah.
And it was against St. Louis City. It's one of those Milan Alaski games that he just comes in that in the 67th minute. Milan Alaski scores in the 79th minute. And then to tack it on, Anders Dreyer scores in the 87th minute. And then on the other side, St. Louis scored in stoppage time, but it didn't matter. San Diego FC wins 2-1. But yeah, it's not going to be like that again, where San Diego had 60% possession. They had 15 shots, 3 on target. I think they're going to be battling for the ball a little bit, if anything. They're going to be adaptable. They're gonna see how this game is gonna flow. We still haven't seen them play an away game. They played at home against Charlotte, so maybe that might be the difference of, like, they might be playing for the tie away, but it's going to be a completely different team. Like even Kloss is not even on this roster anymore. He is now with LA Galaxy, as I mentioned last time. So there's some new personnel with St. Louis City.
Yeah, and I watched some of this game against Charlotte, and Charlotte is not the most explosive team. What they do St. Louis is attack from the outside very well. They overload the wings, and so that's going to be a test for Bombino and whoever starts on the right wing, on the right back position. When it comes to the transition game, it's a little clunky for St. Louis, so I think that's where San Diego FC will definitely take a lot of advantage. And clunky, that defense just kind of is flat-footed at times, and Charlotte just really didn't create anything and challenge them. So there's opportunities for San Diego FC to really exploit that defensive end. But in terms of the attack, there is a good level with I watched some Marcel Hartel. He's a German international, and down the center attacking mid position, and he can create some stuff. He has a good shot and gets into dangerous positions. But I really don't think overall, just seeing how St. Louis performed, it shouldn't necessarily be enough to beat what we've seen consecutively from San Diego FC. And hey, we might even see San Diego FC have a repeat goal scorer for once.
Well, 9 goals, 9 different scorers. At some point, we're going to run out of guys, but we could keep this going for a few more matches if we'd really like. Going to need to get some defender goals eventually. We're going to need some goalkeeper goals. It's going to get tricky at some point, not to repeat. But how about 10? Could we get a goal from Anders Dreyer in this match?
Yeah, I think eventually we're gonna see someone help assist Dreyer on a goal, but I think he likes being the guy that gets everything started, and he moves the ball forward, and he does open up a lot of opportunities for the other guys like Ingvartsen and Pellegrino. But yeah, maybe I think we will have a shot in transition. They were Tony mentioned, just a little bit sloppy, and especially in transition, where I think it was Pep Biel. He was able to score one, and yeah, I think those opportunities are going to be there. They did like Tony mentioned too. They did shoot a lot from outside the box. They had 7 shots outside the box, 15 inside. And I think that's that might be where if that's the thing they're doing, if they're shooting outside the box, then that might be where like Duran Ferree just gets it, shoots it over to Manadua, and we kind of see the same thing as we saw in the second goal where Manadua shoots it out to the midfield and it's off to the races again.
Well, Cisniego's going to start this game, isn't he, Tony?
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, can he?
He can.
Well, he's allowed.
The mechanics are there. Is it 100% that he'll start? I'll tell you this right now. No.
There is no 100. Yeah,
from
especially with this group. Yeah.
Yeah. No. And there's a chance that we can see Duran Ferree potentially start a second game in a row. But right now, as it's slated, it is Cisniega's starting role to lose, at least for this weekend. But, we'll see. I'll have Chiva's going to be out there for meet availability tomorrow, and we'll get a decisive, pecking order going into this weekend for sure.
Could you imagine getting your contract extension and also getting told that the 19-year-old's going to start in front of you when you're completely healthy and you led your team through the first leg in Pumas and you made great saves? Like, you didn't just play, you made great saves. We called it man of the match. And I said man of the match, and both of you guys were like, yes, yes, yes. Then we're like, just a couple of, then the Ferree mist settles around Tony. And by the time it lands, he's like, I don't know. Come on, give Pablo a shot.
So he'll get it. Just needs to be match fit for the game. So
match fit? What happened?
He's fine. He's fine.
Okay.
What, he sat around all week?
Hey, this weather's changing. A lot of people.
It was kind of rainy. I mean,
Yeah, people are getting sick now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tony.
Allergies.
Oh, Tony. Look at you. Sowing the seeds. I see you.
Yeah.
It's going to create a goalkeeper controversy before first quarter of the season is out. First ball that goes in, he's going to be like, well, I think Duran would have stopped that one.
Yeah. Had the distribution been better 25 minutes ago, maybe. Just butterfly affected all the way.
Exactly. Beautiful. Any other thoughts about this match coming up? I'd love to see a team try to take the pressure away from San Diego. Generally, what we've seen people do to react to the San Diego system is to sit back, creep in, get into pockets, get into passing lanes, look for counterattacks, concede the possession, and basically say, let SDFC kind of wear itself out. We're going to keep our form, keep our shape. It's unsexy. It was occasionally effective. Last year, Vancouver just, took it to us in the biggest game. So, there's still room. There's a young defense back there. So I think this could be a nice test then. Let's see if St. Louis City SC has truly reimagined themselves to the point where they can penetrate the right to dream scheme and take it to them and force SDFC off the ball. If that doesn't happen, I'm thinking SDFC gets another win and 3 more points.
Yeah, I think this should be another win for San Diego FC. Like I said, there's some new players in here like Edelman, Wallum, and Santos that started against Charlotte. So this group is still trying to familiarize and get to know each other and, just kind of feel each other out a little bit. But I think that's a good opportunity for a group as collected and as San Diego FC to kind of show them how they play soccer here. So I think it should be a very decisive victory. It should be another couple scoring game for San Diego FC, and they're gonna keep on winning at home and keep the streak alive. So I feel good about this one. I do feel like this is going to be a better matchup than Montreal. So it should be a really good game.
No, it'll be exciting. It'll be exciting.
Yeah.
A clash of styles, and And even then, I don't think Mikey Vadas and SDFC know entirely what they're going to see as well. So it's that added element. But if you ask them, hey, we're going to stick to our style, to our ideals, and we'll let that carry. And for the most part, like that's been working out for them.
Well, I will be there on Sunday in the supporters section with the locals and the Chavos. And those who are there will get to see the Chromaniac 2.0 look.
Oh,
new jacket.
Heck yeah.
Maybe a couple, could be a slightly different accoutrement, a little bit different. Otherwise, some parts the same. It's basically what wore out and needed to be replaced and what didn't.
Okay.
But after a long season,
yeah.
Hey, I've seen an uptick in people doing the enjoyment of the supporter section in donning a uniform of sorts. There's a wizard now. There's a
oh yes, right, yeah. Yeah, there should be a whole menagerie.
Yeah, it's a pantheon of
crazies. Yeah, exactly.
It's going to turn into like choose your character that like the SanDiego FC social media is going to start doing. Like they're just going to like pan the supporter section and be like choose your character.
Right. 100%.
Take that memes, use it.
Yeah.
Your Smash Brothers music on the back. Here comes a new character. Love it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And of course, we'll be up live after the match with the Chromaniacs post-game show live on YouTube via SanDiego.Futbol. Once everybody gets reassembled back at home, get back from the trolley. Quite an experience. And Tony gets back from downstairs and collecting all the sound, which we will share with you. This is the first place to get it, is on the Chromaniacs post-game show. And we will be with you about an hour and a half, depending on time, after the match is done. So until then, don't forget you can follow us on Instagram at the Chromaniacs. You can follow us on TikTok if you have the old tick in the talk at the Chromaniacs as well. On Instagram, you can follow me at 619 Sports and Life. You can follow SanDiego_Futbol for Tony. Alex is what? Alex CV?
Yes. And Chromatic FC SD on Instagram.
There it is. Plus, make sure to go to chromaticfc.com to read everything Alex has for you. Go to SanDiego.Futbol to capture everything that Tony and Chiva and Abe have going for them. And for me, Padres Hot Tub. That's right. Big guest last week, Justin Halpern. Even bigger guest next week. Yet to be announced. Okay. And then a first, an absolute first. Very unexpected. So I'll surprise y'all with that next week. But yeah, subscribe to Padres Hot Tub first so to make sure to tune in. And that's it for the show. Thanks so much to all the great SDFC fans for being here with us and for sticking to the end of the show. If you can hit that like button if you're watching on YouTube on the way out, would really appreciate it. And until the next time we speak on Sunday evening, for Tony and Alex, I'm Craig saying, Vamos, SDFC.